For investment, I would say do your due diligence well, because of course you don't want to fall for the so many Ponzi schemes that we have out there right now. So do your due diligence, and also set your investment goals. So for example, if um, you have an investment, maybe a short-term goal or a medium-term goal or a long-term goal, however it is, there are different investment that you can do to achieve all of those goals that you have. So maybe shares, maybe stocks, maybe mutual funds, maybe treasury bills, whatever goal you want to achieve. I mean, just set your goals and invest in that line, right? And also understand your level of risk. Some people are risk averse, some people are risk tolerant. So understand your level of risk. So that would help you to know the type of investment to go into.
Hi guys, I'm so happy to have you once again today on another episode of Clustered Notes, and it's a pleasure having you join me today. And as you know, and if you don't know, you have to go back and check other recordings. As you know, we've been talking about management, and last time we talked about time management, how you could manage your time to even get the best out of the time. So, not to just bore you with that, you can always check that out on. You'll see them. The previous ones we did, and today we'll be talking about financial management, money management, and everything that deals with money. And money is very important. You know what I'm saying? So today we'll be looking at uh, financial management. And today I have, one of my mentees, those people that we've trained when it comes to money, and she's here to share her story. I'm just joking, anyways. I believe she's even the best to talk about this. She has worked with. I think I've said a lot of times today, but let's just run it that way. She has worked with big fours, even back in Nigeria, one of the top fours, EY, I think. And she's also, when you've trained someone well and she's doing well, you always see the effect. And I just heard that one of the big four in the Netherlands also called her to just move over there. So I have Oyebola with me, doing this with me. Can you just welcome Oyebola with me? Thank you for joining today.
Thank you for having me, Toby.
It's a great pleasure, and you guys, you can see she never denied the fact that I trained her when it comes to
Indeed.
to that. So, when it comes to money and when it comes to money management, I've always heard people say, of course, maybe it's true, and there have been times I said things like, money is not enough, or okay, I still need more. People even use this slang, Dangote still they find money. What's your own take when it comes to do you believe, as an auditor and of course someone in financial line, do you believe you can get to a point in life whereby you know that now I'm done making money, or this is enough, I just want to go and rest? What do you think about that?
Well, to be honest, money is actually never enough, because even the richest of people still try to make money and make more money. But I would say that a lot of people are so bad with planning and budgeting, and it looks like even when they have a lot of money, it's still not enough for them. Some people earn a lot and they still run into debt, and they still ask for urgent 2K, and they still, I mean, don't have money at the end of the day. So it's not about money in that sense. It's about um, proper planning, proper budgeting. So yeah, money is actually never enough. We have different wants and needs that we want to, I mean, achieve. So I mean, and also even as you earn more, like your needs, I mean, expands. You want to get more
They
things,
skyrocket.
exactly. So
Like you now going on vacation, you don't do that when you're in Nigeria.
Exactly. So, yeah, money is never enough. But no matter how little it is, if you can plan well, if you can budget well, the little you have will be enough for you. And you'll be surprised that it will even be more than enough. So, yeah, money is not enough,
Mm.
but proper planning would make what you have enough.
But I can't remember a time I sat down to budget. Do you think it's so important, or maybe we use our head to just budget sometimes to budget and write out things? How do I need to spend this? How do I need to spend that?
Yeah.
What do you think about budgeting generally or planning? Because I think from even what we are just talking about, it looks like, though we talked about time management the other time, but it looks like even the same thing that the person that came up said too. Like it's more of planning. You have to plan your time plan. Do you think we should be so rigid when it comes to that? Okay, I'm spending $500 or euros or naira on food, and once I spend it, I'm done spending. What do you think about budgeting, and how intentional should we be when it comes to budgeting, or how strict should we be?
I like the word intentional because that was what I wanted to mention. You need to be intentional about budgeting because truly, if you don't um, plan well, you are definitely just you are going to fail. I think this word says um, if you fail to plan, you are definitely planning to fail. So planning and budgeting is essential for to achieve your financial goals and to whatever you're trying to achieve. So I would say planning is very essential, and it's the bedrock for a good financial decision. So for me as a person, I try to plan and budget well because if I don't, then I won't be able to meet up with my financial targets and I mean, what of you? So yeah, planning and budgeting is very, very essential when we talk of money management and even in every other area of our life. Planning and budgeting, well, in terms of money
Mm.
management now, planning and budgeting is very
Mm.
essential.
But now I've seen situations whereby you planned and maybe you budgeted some money to go into this, and then maybe things are not working out the way you've planned it. Let's say you've planned 1,000 naira for data, as very common in Nigeria, or maybe even for food now, you might plan maybe $200 for food, and you notice that it seems like I'm going hungry in this house, or the data is not enough. I need to expand it. Do you think that people should? Because okay, there are people that will still ask you for urgent 2K, and really they plan. Though, what do you think? Is it so important to maybe revisit those budgets sometimes, those plans when it's not working out?
Yeah, for me, I would say consistency. So a lot of people would say they are budgeting and they, I mean, set unrealistic goals for themselves. So, for example, if I earn 50,000 naira and I have budgeted to say, oh, I'm saving 15,000 naira for this month.
Mm.
I mean, I feel like that it's reasonable and that's enough. But some people would say, oh, I mean, I want to save 30,000 naira, and in the next 2 months they don't save again,
Mm.
and then so I feel like it's very essential for you to be consistent with your savings
Mm.
and everything. So when you're consistent, it makes it more reasonable, and then it makes you want to be disciplined in that sense. If you then save like a fraction of your or a percentage of your salary consistently, you'll be able to achieve your other needs. So the urgent 2K, your
Mm.
transport, whatever other, I mean, basic needs that you have, you'll be able to,
Mm.
I mean, also then look into that.
Mm.
So I think consistency is very important, and
Mm.
also saving,
Mm.
I mean,
Mm.
realistically.
I think the realistic aspect also is important, as you've mentioned. Because there are times you just want to do it. Maybe someone told you about something, or someone just got a new car, and you're thinking, okay, I want to buy mine to next week. How can I save towards it? Maybe a day I have to save this so amount of money, and you're not necessarily thinking about how you can get that money in itself. Like all your thought is the amount of money you should save. You forget about other expenses, and after maybe the first month or the 2 months, you can no longer save anything, and which
Yeah.
affects you. So
Mm-hmm.
of course you already talked about uh, budgeting and then saving, and then what's your take when it comes to people generally? Of course they are saving and everything, but it seems like this income seems not to be enough, and I won't blame people for asking when there is need, seriously. Well, I'm just looking at, maybe because of I'm not so comfortable asking people generally.
Yeah,
But
same as me.
because you feel like, okay, this person might get tired at some point when you're always asking. So what I'm saying in essence is, in a situation whereby you've even planned, but it seems like what you're earning or what you're getting is not really falling into that budget. Is there any
Mm-hmm.
advice you have for such people generally? Because now, and you know, people easily get comfortable asking. And when I talk about advice, especially considering more of Nigerians case, because you know that to even get a job is very difficult. So
Yeah.
now I've budgeted, I've planned. It seems like, okay, I'm still trying to be realistic. I had someone earning 29,000 naira, a father of three children, and even
Wow.
the guy is thinking of getting married to the second wife. So
What?
I saw it on Justice Court. So the reason for asking questions, this kind of question is, for such a person, he can sit down, set a realistic goal, budget. There is no way that guy wants to budget. The possibility of say asking for another urgent 2k later on is high. So is there any way you advise someone like that, or anything, maybe a tip for someone like that, that even after budgeting, after doing all that, it still is not making sense, than to still look out there for other things?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that you create wealth for yourself and you look for other sources of income. You don't have to always do the 9 to 5 job if the 9 to 5 job is not giving you what you want and is not making you to achieve your financial goals and your set targets. I feel like you can always then look for, I mean, other sources of income to add up to what you already have. So yeah, I mean, create wealth, look for other sources of income, and most importantly, I think what I would say is, um, like someone would say, the greatest form of investment is in yourself.
Mm,
Try to also invest in yourself. If you invest in yourself, you become more valuable to your organization and wherever field you are working in. So if you invest in yourself, you then be able to create wealth for
wealth.
yourself. So yeah, the greatest form of investment is actually the investment that you have done in yourself, because that will definitely not lose value. I mean, it won't lose value because it would also then create wealth for you in the future. So yeah, I think that you if your current income is not giving you what you want, the 29k scenario, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
look for other jobs that would give you more money. And if you don't have that capacity, if you don't have that capacity, then you build capacity in yourself, you add value to yourself, do whatever, maybe professional courses or whatever. Just make sure that you're doing something, you're not standing in one position. Make yourself valuable and make yourself better than your colleagues and your contemporaries.
Thank you for that. And I believe most times we are so comfortable in what we are doing because we are not so sure of the next place we are going to. So if I'm collecting 29,000, I might feel like, oh, if I try to do other things, I'm not so sure if the business or any other thing I want to do might succeed. But I think the best, as you've mentioned, is try and even look for something else, see how it can work out and all. I know someone that is really into agric now. He finished school and he's been doing this thing, and I don't know much about how he's doing in that thing, but for me, I still feel like maybe on the long run, it might definitely be better than even someone looking for the 9 to 5, especially
Mm-hmm.
in the situation we have in Nigeria. So it's more of, okay, how can I improve things for myself, as you have mentioned. Thank you for that. So let me just ask maybe a few personal questions when it comes to finances before we just quit today. Have there been any time, especially, I'm not even talking about school, school, I don't know, there's rich people back then in school that they don't even lack, they send money always. Recently, and of course, you've been earning, you've had a job for a while. So, has there been any time that you were really broke? Like, really, really broke? And how did you navigate that time, if there has been? Because for me, there have been times where I was broke. So,
are you saying back in school or like?
No, I said no. Now, of course, back in school, you're expected to be broke, and you're still upcoming. Then you might not really give us now the tips at the moment.
To be honest, I can't remember any time that I was actually broke, and not because I actually earn a lot of money, but because number one, I live within my means, and I budget well. So again, for me, just like you, I don't like to ask people for money. I don't like to ask people for urgent 2K. Ever since I left school, I was responsible for myself. I started working NYSC and then my proper job. So I always try to, whatever I earn, I always try to like budget, save. And I wasn't even investing. I mean, early back in those days, I wasn't investing. I was just basically just saving, right?
So you invest now?
Well, yeah. I mean, we can say that.
And would you suggest that people should invest these days, or it's better for you to just save?
It is. It's essential. Saving cannot actually multiply your money because, of course, inflation and every other thing. So, but investing would multiply your money for you. So no matter how good saving can be, you can. So again, I think for me, I usually just, I mean, my own habit is I usually just have like a portion that I save and then a portion of my income that I invest. So because I mean those sources, those things actually then they are for different purposes. So I save for a particular purpose and then I invest for a particular purpose, right? So but
have there been any time you had to touch your investment because you needed money?
No, because my savings usually cover for my emergencies or what have you. So again, for me, on a personal note, I think this thing I always say to my friends. My own habit is that I have like different purposes for my money, my spending basically. So I have, and this is this popular types of demand of money. I'm taking us back to economics in secondary school. These transactionary.
I was arguing with. He will listen to this definitely. I told him I know economics a lot. He was asking me the formula for GDP. I said, "Who that one?"
So basically, I do the transactionary, precautionary, and speculative. So transactionary basically is to like meet my everyday needs. So I want to buy groceries. I want to do.
I didn't do that in my own economics though.
Are you serious? Which school did you go to?
I went to one public school like that.
Everybody did that in economics now.
Transactionary and all that.
Yes, that's called types of demand of money.
I wasn't listening in class most likely because I can't remember that.
Yeah, most likely.
It's Adam Smith. I still know Adam Smith. Though I can't remember his definition. So yeah.
So basically, so transactionary basically is to like it's the everyday use. I want to buy this, I want to buy a recharge card, I want to do this, I want to do that. So that's the normal everyday use. Then precautionary is for emergencies. So for example, maybe I have a flat tire, of course, all those things were not planned for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when those things happen, you didn't expect it would, but when it happens, you don't expect to go to your friends to borrow you urgent 2K and everything. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those type of money meets those needs. For me, I usually put aside some money for maybe my exams and everything. That's why I put my savings and everything, because those are like maybe not emergencies, but like it's something that I know I would need, and I don't want to put it in my account that I use for my everyday use. So again, I have a separate account for those things. For my transactionary, I have a separate account for it. From my precautionary use, I have a separate account for it. So that I don't then mix it up and everything. So that has always been helpful for me. And
So
then the
if
speculative is the
okay,
investment. So
and
speculative is maybe I want to like do an investment which is based on my goal, my investment goal. Maybe it's short term or medium term or long term. So it's just transactionary, precautionary, and speculative, and that
so
has so far helped me
from the
over the years.
emergency, if I have extra and I need money for extra things, other things. So nothing so sudden has happened. But I don't know, maybe the month is not yet over. I don't know, maybe a
Nothing
flat
sudden
tire
has
can.
happened because I always just budget and plan well. So
What I'm
and I
saying
always meet
is, in that
realistic
situation
goals.
that
So
I have extra in that emergency thing,
okay,
the emergency is like, okay, in case I need money for anything so urgent. But let's say this is the
yeah.
25th of this month, and then nothing has
Mhm.
happened till
Mhm.
25th. But I'm not sure of the rest of the month. Of the rest
Okay.
days, and I need money for other things. Maybe I've exhausted the transactionary. What would you say? Is it okay to just dip into the emergency and use it for the regular?
Well, maybe you can. I mean, it depends on you. Of course, it's your
Okay.
money still. And if you're in
Mm,
need of money, why would you suffer when you have money elsewhere, right?
yeah, yeah.
So, of course, you can take your money and then use it. But again, I think it has to also deal with, I mean, certain realistic goals. So, if you know that this money is not enough for me for this month, I say that I'm budgeting 20,000 naira or 30,000 naira for this month to cover my transactionary needs, right? And I've already over the months I've worked it out, and I see that this is actually realistic and it will meet my goals. So but if something then happens out of the blues, I mean, that's why the precautionary is there, and then of course you go there and pick it up to use, right? So but I mean, where you should not go to is the speculative,
The,
the investment, because it's investment for a reason.
but
So
I'm even
I think
worried
that's
about
it.
the realistic thing now, because now there are situations whereby I'm trying to be realistic, but I'm giving space for
Okay,
luxury. I don't know if that makes sense.
a
Now,
luxury.
yeah, maybe normally I should take a can of Coke maybe once in a week. But I now calculate, okay, for every day or 2 times a day unnecessary. And I'm saying I'm just being realistic. But necessary, those things are not so important. I'm just saying, even when trying to be realistic, how far can our that go being realistic? How far can it go? Because there are situations whereby you're saying you're being realistic, but you know that you're actually stepping beyond what you really need to give you space for maybe some level of enjoyment. And I understand, okay,
Mm,
once in a while you should not starve yourself, at least enjoy life. But
yeah.
there are times like, okay, I'm actually including it to be my everyday life when I know that, okay, maybe I can spend more investing. I don't know if that makes sense. So what should be the level of these realistic goals and all that?
Well, however way it makes sense to you, because even for me, I also make allowance for enjoyment, because of
It's
course YOLO,
important
you live only
sometimes.
once. Yeah, so I make allowance for enjoyment, but again, you need to be disciplined. Actually, you need to be, because for me as well, I like the good things of life. I like good
Who
clothes and
doesn't?
good shoes. So I try, because I know that I like those things. I try to get them like maybe every month or whatever, because I want them, right? So, and they've already made provision for that. So if I then now see like a very beautiful shoe, and I'm going dipping my hands into my emergency needs to buy a shoe, I feel like it's not reasonably
Financially.
reasonable enough, and it's not, it doesn't show discipline. So yeah, it's true that you need to like have do flex sometimes and say, oh, I beg, I just want to do this thing, I beg. So
Let me
but
chop life.
yeah, again, you let me chop life. You still need to be disciplined. It's important to be disciplined, because if you're not disciplined, then you won't be able to meet your financial goal. You keep going back to your mistakes, and at the end of the day, you'd take everything out. So yeah, just be disciplined and be consistent and be realistic. And that's what I think.
So basically, everything starts from planning, and of course, you've shown us a lot. Though you said you don't get broke, so we can learn from you as part that you're giving us that rich, rich auntie vibes. No problem. I think we'll
No,
learn
it's
from
not
her.
rich auntie
Well,
vibes. It's just
because we are thinking, okay, maybe there was a time it hit you badly, and then how did you navigate it? Well, we'll take that from you just like that. Anyways, we'll manage what you have for us. But basically, I think I've learned a few things which are very powerful. Uh, when it comes to planning, and separate the money. Don't just put everything together. When you put everything together, and that is where budgeting comes in, like being intentional when it comes to all that. What's your take when it comes to investment generally? Because few of us we've been involved in some funny investment and didn't really come out well. So of course, because we mentioned investing, and when you want to multiply your money, you can multiply it through investment. So when it comes to investment generally, what would you advise us on that? And
well,
what's your
for
take?
investment, I would say do your due diligence well, because of course you don't want to fall for the so many Ponzi schemes that we have out there right now. So do your due diligence, and also set your investment goals. So for example, if um, you have an investment, maybe a short-term goal or a medium-term goal or a long-term goal, however it is, there are different investment that you can do to achieve all of
Mm,
those goals that you have. So maybe shares, maybe stocks, maybe mutual funds, maybe treasury bills, whatever goal you want to achieve. I mean, just set your goals and invest in that line, right? And also understand your
mm,
level of risk. Some people are risk averse, some people are risk tolerant. So
mm.
understand your level of risk. So that would
Yes.
help you to know the
Mm,
type of investment to go into. So again, but most importantly, do your due diligence. Don't just invest in anything because your friend is doing it, because somebody has gotten a returns
mm.
and all of these things. I mean, most of these things out there, I mean, they're so unreal. And of course, it may give some, it may have profited some people, but that doesn't mean that it's legit in that sense. So do your due diligence well.
That some people are enjoying it or they are cashing out
Yes.
doesn't really mean
Yeah.
it's legit or it's
Exactly,
worth putting
exactly.
the
I
money
mean, so
into.
that it will not end in premium tears at the end of the day. So make sure that you don't lose your hard-earned money to some evil people out there that they just want to take from you. So
Actually, if you're cool with losing it, it's fine. But some
yeah,
people they don't mind. If you're not, do your due diligence. It's important.
yeah, and also please don't borrow money to invest. I mean,
Mm.
it's so bad, because I mean, why is it investment when you are borrowing money to invest? Some people would actually borrow money to invest, and I feel like that is wrong.
There have been cases where I did too, anyways, and
Thank God you are confessing
oh,
now.
so I still have another question in that line though, because if you're very
Okay.
sure of, I think my own case was like, okay, I invested in something that wasn't real, and it did
Okay.
not come out well. And if I were to be in Nigeria, maybe I would not be saying what I wanted to say now, or what I'm about to say now. But I've noticed that even for people here, the life here is all about debt. Like you even hear someone like Robert Kiyosaki saying it, like when
Mm-hmm.
you're investing, you don't even use your money. You use
Yeah.
people's money
Yeah.
to
True. True.
invest and do all that. So now, if it is actually a very legit, of course, I understand if we're actually talking to someone that is still trying to survive, and investment might not be, it might be so rocky sometimes. But if I'm so sure I've done my due diligence and I think, okay, I can really cash out with this thing? Because I'm thinking if I can borrow money even from the bank, let's not say from someone at 3% interest rate, and I notice that this thing is actually giving 5%, I can pay back the bank, just take the 2% on it. And if it's cool, like if I can borrow something very huge to do it. So what do you think in that situation? Because you mentioned, okay, not borrowing money, but if I did my due diligence, or I have done my due diligence and I feel it can still work out, what do you think about?
Well, from my own perspective, I would say that it's a different case if you're trying to finance a company. So, if you're trying to finance a company, definitely there's a level of
Mm,
leverage that you have to say, oh, I want to have this percentage of debt, I want to have this percentage of equity, right? But this
mm.
is different. This is more of a
Just
personal,
uh,
um,
just few
yeah,
investment things all around.
exactly. This is less technical. This is about you, your life, right? So I think
Mm,
it's I would still say that it's not good to borrow money to invest. Live within your means. If you have 20,000 naira loan to invest, invest it steadily and consistently. Live within that, achieve it and build it over time.
mm,
Don't borrow 100,000 naira to invest, and even if it's profitable at the end of the day and then you return the money, I feel like it still doesn't make sense. I mean, live within your own means, try to invest what you have, and over time make it grow, and then you grow, and then you get the profit. So
mm,
it's different if you're trying to finance a company. That one is very technical, and you're trying to look at different financial levels. This one is
mm.
more like your personal financial goals, and I would still say that I should not borrow money to invest.
Hmm. Because generally, even from what you've said, investment is something that you might not be, even after doing your due diligence. Let's say, for instance, there are stocks that even went down like
Mm-hmm.
crazily then. So after doing your diligence and everything, you might not even be sure if it's still going to be profitable, or you might be at loss. And if you've borrowed money to do that, it's serious debt, and which
Yeah.
sometimes you might just avoid that. You know, if it's not something like maybe
Mm-hmm.
you're financing a company, as you've said.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you have maybe a final thought.
Yeah, I think my final words is what I've already said, that the best form of investment is in yourself. Invest in
Mm,
yourself. When you invest in yourself, it over time it may not look so good, I mean, initially, but over time it would create more money for you in the future,
mm,
because then you would have added value to yourself, and that value that you've added to yourself would create more money for you by making you better than your colleagues, your contemporaries, and so on.
mm.
So invest in yourself. While you're investing in securities and every other thing, try to also invest in yourself.
Mhm. Thank you for that. Invest in yourself, and that's much more important than anything. If you're expecting a pay raise or anything in anything you're doing, I think when you have more value that you can add to maybe an organization or to people generally or anything, that's when you should expect an increase in what you're getting. So that's very important. Invest in yourself. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for doing this once again. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and thank you everyone who has listened this far. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you next week when we also talk about more about management and we look at other aspects of management. Thank you, and have a blessed weekend. Bye.